All right, so we got to talk about Gavin Newsom, what's going on in California. It is some really bizarre stuff. I mean, some of the lockdown stuff that he's talking about here. I mean, he's going to cause some serious financial and economic and social problems. I mean, you got people on the far left who's talking about revolting. People on the right definitely going to feel that way. So the more he pushes this kind of stuff, the more you're going to see a mass exits from California into Texas. And the more Texas is going to turn blue. However, the right should not feel bad about that, because if my prediction holds true, California is going to become more and more red over time. And now, if you're doubting that for a second, I want to remind you that Arnold Schwarzenegger was not a Democrat. Arnold was not a Democrat, so keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, I'm kind of worried about the status of California. I'm worried about where it's going. You know, like some of the far left policies that Gavin Newsom is pushing, I totally get you have to put some kind of barriers in place, some kind of social and honestly some kind of health related barriers between the global health situation that's going on right now. I get that part, because at first I thought it was a little bit overplayed until I started seeing some of the hospitals, until I started seeing some of the early return numbers from the CDC, until I actually started emailing the CDC. Because when I wrote my article back in, I want to say it was February of this year, I wrote an article about what was happening at the airports in South Carolina. I called the airports in Charleston International Airport and Columbia Metropolitan Airport. And what I found with Columbia Metropolitan Airport was that they were saying that because they didn't fly out to other countries and internationally, that they weren't going to make a whole lot of preparations beyond just cleaning, like the tarmac a little bit more. And I'm thinking to myself, guys, you take flights from places like Dallas, Fort Worth that have interchanges from international flights. So what are you talking about? And so that article got featured on the U.S. Press Association. I'm going to link that down in the description below so that you can see that. And it's kind of funny that it was me who single-handedly changed their whole policy, because when that got placed on the U.S. Press Association, it was bad. I think heads rolled. I hope that guy that answered that phone, I hope he didn't get fired. But, I had to do my job, so as a journalist. So, but back to Gavin Newsom. I've been worried about California in terms of what direction they've been going, because it seems like Gavin Newsom hasn't been slashing taxes. Yeah, you still have, like for example, if you were to look across the country at places that have like high taxations, that are taking this quarantine thing very, very seriously, places like California, parts of Washington State. In fact, Washington State right now is talking about whole new rules and regulations that are about to come into place. Basically, we are back to, I want to say, phase 1 or phase 2, and if you look at California, they're not lowering the tax burden on people while at the same time bringing in more regulations, which is going to cause social upheaval eventually, because people are already broke as it is. They've lost their jobs through no fault of their own. The government still, to this day, I want to remind everybody, to this day, you've only gotten $1,200 to this day. I mean, you got politicians on the left and the right who are arguing and fussing and fighting. Meanwhile, people are losing their jobs still. People are losing businesses still. And Gavin Newsom is sitting there playing games. Gavin, I'm not threatening anything. I don't wish this on anybody. But Gavin, if you keep playing those games, man, the left and the right are going to team up against you. And one of these days, we've already had people try to show up to local politicians' households. Eventually, what's going to happen to Gavin Newsom is the same thing that happened to the governor, who's Whitmer. Yeah, her. It's just going to be plots, man. Because people, when you give them nothing to lose, and plus, when you already have a high state of paranoia, that's when people are at their most dangerous. I remember I watched there was a movie called The Mist. It was based on a Stephen King novel, and it's not the Netflix series, it's the movie. And I remember it was one quote that the main character says. He says, when you remove hope, and when people feel hopeless, you scare the shit out of them. All right? And right now we have the most firearm sales in history, and firearm sales are going crazy right now. And I remember when I went to the grocery store earlier, and I also went by a gas station around the corner. They had up signs saying limit the amount of toilet paper that you can buy. So people are already buying toilet paper again off the freaking shelves. All right, and so you're gonna lock them in and then place them on a freaking curfew. So what? So I want to explain to you why that's so stupid, right? First of all, I'm a grown ass man. I ain't got no damn curfew. Okay, I didn't have a curfew since I was in the freaking military, and I willingly subjected myself to that. Otherwise, from that, I'm a grown ass man. All right, you trying to pull me over because I'm outside on curfew? Oh, well, what are you doing outside? Excuse me. Last I checked, we ended slavery, and I don't need my pass from my fucking massa. Okay. I don't need my pass to be outside, massa. All right. I can go and come as I please. Freedom of movement is a constitutional right, is a Central American right, is a human right. The government has no right to tell me where I can and can't go. First off. Second of all, what you're doing is you are creating a Black Friday type of effect, right? You already know that panic buying is gonna pick up again. Because if I'm going by gas stations and I'm seeing signs where people are putting up signs saying, you know, limit 4 rolls of toilet paper per customer, or one pack of 4, 1 pack of 6, 1 pack of 10, 1 pack of 12, or like 24, you know, limit 1 per family. If I'm already seeing that, then what you're doing is by placing a curfew, you are artificially limiting the hours that those stores can operate. So that gives people a limited time to get to those stores. While at the same time, so many people have lost their jobs and they are on unemployment, that those people have time to actually get to those stores to bum rush them now. So what you're gonna have is stores bum rush pretty soon. As soon as these curfews and the restrictions start taking hold, and as soon as pressure builds, you're gonna have a Black Friday effect all over again. It's gonna be what happened at the beginning of the year all over again, except this time you have even more panic because people are still uncertain about what's gonna happen with this election in terms of the reaction. So you have so many fears out there. You have a lot of anger, and there's still pent up anger. You know, a little less than half of the country is still angry at the results. And then you're gonna pull this. Well, not only are more people gonna leave California, but the people who stay, they may not take the peaceful option. So, Gavin Newsome, you're playing with fire, man. And I would really reverse course. But that's all I gotta say, guys. Anyways, I got an interesting Facebook message in my messenger from a fan of Lindsey Graham, and they told me that they didn't like the way I picked on Mr. Graham, and I'm gonna say that first of all, if you were offended about what I talked about Mr. Lindsey Graham, I'm gonna keep doing it because I love Lindsey Graham. He's my favorite senator, the old Southern dandy. You know, but he's a very, very funny guy. You know, I prefer myself to be a real person, be authentic. You know, no matter how I feel about something, just say it. You know, even if you say it and damn the consequences. You know, but I know that Lindsey Graham, he has a tough time being himself. You know, but once again, I apologize to that person. You know, I will try not to make fun of our not so openly LGBT senator. You know, I'll just say that Lindsey, you know, he's stunning and brave. I gotta say, he's the most stunningest and bravest senator, you know, U.S. senator that I've ever seen. Anyways, guys, horns up and peace out.